Hey, what is up guys, Super Chris Productions here, back with my final showcase of 2021, this time on the two figures I made to celebrate the release of the new Star Wars Disney Plus show, The Book of Boba Fett. I'm really excited for this show. I've liked Boba Fett ever since I was a kid. I always thought he looked really cool, but something I've liked just as much as Boba, or maybe even more, has to be the clones, and especially the actor who plays them, Tamara Morrison. I'm so glad we've got him back after over a decade, technically playing a clone again, since Boba was an unaltered clone of the bounty hunter Jango Fett. I love seeing Boba's return in The Mandalorian Season 2, and I think it's really cool that we actually get to see more of Boba as a character, and not just someone who hung around in the background or on the side without very many lines or much screen time, as that is how we did see him in the original trilogy. But now, without further ado, I'm sure you're all really anxious to take a closer look at these figures, so why don't we go ahead and get into the showcase video. Alright, and starting off with the first figure, here is Boba Fett. I'll give you guys a full 360 of the figure, just so you can get a quick little rundown of all the details and everything on him before we actually take a look up close. And I'll get his accessories out of the way, just so you can get a clearer look. Now, I do want to point out first that this figure is actually not 100% made by me. I did show some photos on Instagram, and people thought that I had sculpted the armor for Boba, but that is actually not the case. Majority of the armor on this figure is actually from Nate's Minifigs, which I will leave a link to his Instagram down in the description below, so you guys can go check him out. I had bought a Hunter armor set from him earlier this year, and I've had it sitting around for a really long time with no use for it, and I was running out of time when it came to do Boba, and I did not feel like sculpting the armor myself, as it is really tedious to sculpt Mandalorian armor, and I had previously done it twice, making a Season 1 and 2 Mandalorian figure. So when it came time to do Boba, I decided I would just use that armor set and paint it up, and it did turn out really nice, honestly. So the parts that are from Nate are the knee pads, the chest armor, the helmet, this rangefinder, the shoulder pads, the gauntlets, the jetpack, and this back plate. All the rest, all the paint that you see, any extra sculpted detail, and the fabric here, all of that was done by me. Now, one unfortunate thing you probably noticed right off the bat is Boba's rangefinder is slightly angled in way too much. And that has to do with the magnet placement. I used a micro magnet for his rangefinder, so it would be able to move up and down just like an actual rangefinder would. But because of that, it's a little angled. I did try to fix it. I don't know what to do to fix it, because nothing I tried worked. So, I mean, it's not terrible. It's okay. I mean, it serves its purpose alright, I think. But I'll give you guys a closer look at the helmet. I did try my best to match all the paint on Boba's helmet, especially his armor. So that green color, I did try and get it really close to the actual green color, and he has several green colors on his helmet. So he has like the base green, and then this like darker green in the cheeks, and then he has like this goldish green type color on the sides of the helmet for like the earpieces. And then, I'll get the jetpack out of the way here, he has another shade of green on the back of the helmet, so it's like 3 or 4 shades of green. So I tried my best to match each color to get it as accurate as possible. And then I painted, of course, the outline of the visor in a dark red color. And then I painted like these little orange stripes that he has here on the side of his helmet. And I also added all the silver for paint chips and different bits of silver for like weathering. I did brush the helmet over with gray paint and gunmetal, just so his helmet could look a little battle worn, since Boba does have a lot of battle damage on his armor. And of course, the little dent there, that was not on the original helmet. I actually drilled a hole into the helmet to get that dent. But yes, that's it for the helmet, and I'll take that off so you guys can see the face. The face was from the 501st Battle Pack. I took it off one of the 501st figures. Now, I did not paint the scars on his face. I decided I wasn't going to do that because in the trailers, it does not look like the scars that he had in Mando Season 2 are as prominent in his own show, so I didn't really feel a need to paint them. And then right under his neck, he has like this little scarf thing and this extra piece of fabric. That was actually sculpted by me, and it is removable because a lot of the reference for this figure, I had started basing the figure off of the Hot Toys for all the details and everything, but I found out later on, once the trailer was released, that he actually has a totally different armor design, or setup at least, than he did in The Mandalorian. So this like scarf piece is not as protruding out of the top of the armor, so it is removable in case I decide to display him without it to give him a little more cleaner look. But of course I prefer to keep it on there. But yeah, so on the torso you can see all the paint work that was done by me. I actually elevated the sides of the torso a little bit with sculpt work just to make his outfit, like the fabric of his outfit, look like it came out a little more. And then the back plate, there's not much going on here, it's just painted up since the jetpack, you know, covers all that. It is weathered up a little bit, painted all the silver chipping paint, and the same thing on the front. Painted the little symbol up there, painted like the little red in that piece of his armor there. And I actually did drill a lot of holes in the armor to try and get all the dents and everything that he has. Trying to make it as accurate as possible. And for the arms, I wrapped fabric around them and then glued the shoulder pads there, since his shoulder pads kind of tuck into the top of his sleeves. So I wanted to make sure I showed that on the figure. And you can even see the little mythosaur symbol there painted on his left shoulder. And of course the gauntlets, like I said, are Nate's minifigs. All I did was paint them up, except for the right arm where I sculpted this little piece that he has down here, and I also sculpted and glued in these little tubes that he has that connect up to his arm, and you can see connects up to the top of the arm, and one of them does go under the shoulder pad like it's supposed to. And for the belt of the figure, that was actually mostly sculpted by me. I wrapped a piece of electrical tape around the figure first, and then I sculpted all the little bullets that he has there. I sculpted his little holster, which is actually made with a piece of electrical tape that I folded over and then sculpted on top of. I sculpted his belt buckle, these pouches right here, and then more of these little bullet pouch things that he has there that go around the side. I wasn't too sure what he had on this side of his belt, so I did just sculpt another pouch. Of course, more of those little bullet things, and this little gold plate thing that it looked like he had on his belt. And then I added this little fabric piece that I cut out myself. And finally, for the legs, they're just plain black legs with the red boots painted on, the knee pads glued on and painted in yellow, of course all weathered up, and the paint does wrap around all four sides of the legs, as per usual. But yeah, I'll just try and put him back together really quickly. Oh, and I did forget to go over his jetpack, so I guess we can take a look at that now. Like I said, the jetpack is from Nate's Minifigs, and I painted it up in the same green color as the rest of the armor, and then I added the blue detail weathered it up a lot and painted all the little markings and detail that you see on it. Pretty self-explanatory, everything going on there. And finally, for his weapons, I have two Brick Arms blasters, a Brick Arms EE3 blaster carbine. I weathered it up in some gunmetal, painted like the stock here in dark brown, and added the little details in gunmetal that he has on the stock. And then his little K13 blaster pistol, I also weathered up in a bit of gunmetal. But so that's all I have to say for Boba Fett, and now we can move on to Fennec. Alright, and here we have Fennec Shan, of course, full 360 of the figure, and I'll also get her rifle out of the way so you guys can take a better look. This figure was actually pretty simple. I completed her like not long after finishing Boba Fett. Starting off from the top, the hairpiece was actually all sculpted by me, besides the base, which is actually an actual Lego hair. It was like an old style Lego male hairpiece, which I then heavily sanded, and then I sculpted like these little bang pieces that she has coming down the front of her face, and then all the braided pieces on the top, and painted in like the orange braided detail that she has on her hair. And then I continued the braid down the back of her head, and it does wrap around over her shoulder, as you can see there, and I did paint a little bit of the orange detail in the braid. Now, I'm not too sure how accurate this hairpiece is. A lot of images that I looked up, they all seem very different. So some of them she had all this orange in her hair, some of them she only had it on the top, and not really as much prominent in the actual braid that comes over her shoulder. So again, not too sure how accurate the hair is. I could always change it up later if it isn't, but for now this is what I decided to go with, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The face was from the Cho figure from the Harry Potter series. I erased the mouth and repainted the lips on it, try to get it to look a little bit like Fennec. And then the torso was a normal Lego torso that I curved and sculpted the chest onto, and then I also sculpted all the detail for her outfit. She has this piece like a belt that wraps all the way around the torso. That was all sculpted by me, and of course the paintwork continues around the side a bit, and if my camera will focus, and of course on the back. And I did sculpt in these little, I don't know what you call them, these little boxes that she has on her outfit. It's probably connected to whatever the machinery that's keeping her alive. I'm not too sure. And then for the arms, just normal Lego arms with electrical tape wrapped around the wrists. And then I painted all the orange detail that you see there, wraps around the whole arm. And on this arm, she has like this little orange pad, which I sculpted. And then the same thing, wrapped the electrical tape around the arm, painted the orange detail. And for her waist cape, this is actually made out of fabric that I cut and glued, placed all the pieces together myself. Now this piece is removable. I'll take it off there so you guys can get a better look. I painted all the detail onto it, even the detail in the middle here, and the same for the back, even if it is a little hard to see. But yeah, all this was made by me. It was several pieces of fabric that I joined together to get this shape. And for the legs, which is the final part of the figure, just normal black minifigure legs, which I painted in my own black color for her boots, and then wrapped these orange stripes all the way around the legs for the boots. Again, like I said, pretty simple figure, not as much going on as Boba Fett. She actually took me a lot less time to finish than Boba, since he has a lot more detail going on with his armor and everything. Now, this figure could possibly be inaccurate. There could be other details that I'm missing, but again, like I said with the hair, if I find anything later on, especially while watching the show, I will make sure to add those on. And finally, for her weapon, it is a Brick Arms MKM sniper blaster, which I painted these little triangle bits here in gunmetal, and the paint does wrap all right around there. And then I did paint like this little gold ring that she has around the stock of her rifle. It did kind of get a little chipped up there. I might have to touch that up later. But yes, that does it for Fennec, and that does it for the showcase, and now we can go ahead and wrap up this video. Alright guys, so that about wraps up the showcase video. I did try to keep everything quick and concise, but there was just so much detail to go over, so it ended up being a little bit longer than I had anticipated. So I would not be too surprised if some of you actually skipped through the video. I probably would have done the same, but I do want to say thank you to those of you who stuck around up until this point. I really hope you guys like these figures as much as I enjoyed making them. These two came out really nice, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. Now, I do want to say one more thing before I sign off. I have one more video planned for 2021. This is not my final video. It is my final showcase, but it's not the final video. I should be uploading another video on probably Friday. If it does not go up on Friday, then the latest would be Saturday, but it should definitely be going up somewhere, sometime around then. But again, really hope you guys liked the video and the figures. If you did, be sure to drop a like down below. Don't forget to comment, share, and maybe even subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!